I don't know if we touched on that or not, but I mean, I think a membership model is extremely important. And then I think where the secret sauce with that and the peek behind the curtain, so to speak, stems with if you understand what services you can deliver, and those services may be different based upon location, and maybe different based upon what service lines that that practice is offering. But I think you have to take the time and effort to understand from a profitability standpoint where you need to be. Like, what do I need to charge? Like, if I have a given number of clients, I'm going to reveal a little bit of the secret sauce. You have to be able to understand how many clients or patients do you think you're willing to see, or do you have the ability to see? One, how many do you think you're actually going to see? Two, and worst case scenario, how many would you see? Do those three things like through a pro forma, work that up. If you don't know how to do that, then hire somebody that call, hire, go through us, and we can show you how to do that. But you have to understand where your profitability lies. Once you understand that, then you can determine what you have to charge for each of those levels of membership, right? And then I would stick at three. I generally don't like, I mean, I've had people say we should have five, we should have four, we should have two. You can do that if you want, but there's a reason these billion-dollar companies like Apple and there's a reason that they have like three levels of like MacBook Pros. There's a reason they have like, because they have the high, the middle, and the low, right? They want you to buy the middle one, right? And they're okay if they only have 5 or 10% of the population that buys the high end one, because that's so much more profitable for them. There's very little of an increase in the expense for them to make that product, right? So I think membership models are extremely important. And I think you have to understand where that is, where you have to price that. And then you have to determine if there's anything that you're going to utilize as like a loss leader, if that makes sense, right? You may have to, you're not necessarily giving something away, but it's more of an opportunity cost. You're sacrificing that for something better. And so you have to understand that. And it's not the same for everybody, right? You have to do like a period of discovery to understand what exactly you need. But if you do that, your chance of success increases exponentially. And then you'll find that the only thing that you're going to think about is why you didn't get out of the insurance game sooner. Because people are going to come to you because they want to come to you, not because they're required to.
They're going to pay. They're going to pay the dollar amount. And depending 100%. On where you are,
they're going to be glad to pay. They're going to be glad to pay. And they're going to, because they understand the value, right? They're not walking out of the grocery store with a cart full of groceries for free, right? They're picking exactly what they want because they pay for it, and then they're appreciative of what it is that they've acquired, right? So you're creating that value in that long-term customer, and then obviously what's most important is that positive and that favorable outcome.
That's really keying in on something important from an operational perspective, how it's presented to the patient, how you attract that client long-term, how you tie them into your ecosystem long-term. If you don't have a membership, there's an opportunity for them to leave. If you're doing one-offs, every day I have same conversation. I had another one today. They're just getting ready to start out, discussing their membership. They're talking about their billables for the flow. One of the things that we have to stress, and you touched on it, as we look at these membership programs, you're also putting in a specific protocol that your clients follow. If you have one client that does a DEXA scan, one client that doesn't do a DEXA scan, if you offer a package, let's say, of shockwave therapy, and you do it a la carte, one at a time, but that the healing cascade session is 5 or 6 sessions long, and you're going to build them independently, per time, there's a high probability chance they don't come back. They might feel amazing and not come back, or maybe, they don't understand, the clinical significance of multiple touch points for a treatment. There's all these variables. Packages are important. Bundling is important. Absolutely. Membership, building recurring revenue is important. Stacking modalities is important. And
something you can do.
Reinventing the wheel.